Good evening. It's good to see everybody. I'd like to call the study session for the City of North Augusta City Council for Monday, April the 13th, 2026 to order. It's been about 8 months since we've been here, so it's, I'll make sure I remember how to say that. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our City Administrator, Mr. Jim Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Just as a reminder, as our normal practice is, we'll go through an agenda review. We have a lot for the agenda review this evening. I suspect that'll eat up most of our time. Then we'll have department details, and then under Mayor's Matters, we have no focus item for this evening because we wanted to keep that off the table based on the amount of actions we're going to be talking about for the next City Council meeting. So with that, if we can, we'll move into the draft agenda review. And so I'll skip over. We got a number of proclamations the mayor will be making, along with recognizing our employee of the quarter, and then also recognizing our youth. So we're going to have a Youth Appreciation Day. So we'll have a number of our high school students here. Those students get married up with staff members and council members, and they'll be recognized at the start of the council meeting for next week. And then we'll move into old business, and there are two items under old business. The first is under Planning and Development Ordinance number 2026-06 to approve the revised general development plan of the plus or minus 195.39 acre Hammond's Ferry plan development located on the west side of Georgia Avenue between the North Augusta Greenway and the Savannah River, revisions relating solely to Phase B of such revised general development plan, second reading. So that's kind of a long title. And again, we're not talking about 195 acres that constitutes the development of Riverside Village. We're really focused on the parcel D as far as a change of usage. And I know we've talked about this in the past, and I'll go ahead and skip in your council packets under attachment 8. You've got page 7 of 26. Really what it shows there is the parcel identifier, and you can see parcel D, and the use becomes commercial office parking for 0.83 acres, density being 80,000 square foot, parking to be determined. And again, as a reminder for council and for the folks watching in the room and at home, the 80,000 square foot is based on an engineering assessment of what could actually fit on that site. Again, the financials do not bear out building an 80,000 square foot building based on what we potentially have at Bear. But ultimately, that's what would be authorized to put on the site. And so ultimately, you've got a lot of documentation here for this, but that's the crux of what is occurring in this action, is changing it from what it currently is designed for and allowed for, which is residential over a small amount of retail, to change it into commercial office space. And if you all recall, the parcel C, which is now residential and retail space, was designed to be a 5-story office building, and so this would basically swap the intent of those two parcels, although the first part of the swap had already occurred. Parcel C was a previous council action to change that into retail and residential, but this would allow for commercial on parcel D, which would feed into some of the following actions there. So certainly something that we've talked about. This has gone through Planning Commission. It was brought here to council, and so you've already had a first reading of this particular item, but we're now at second reading, and I will pause for any questions. And again, if there's any very specific planning questions, I've got Tommy Paradise and also Tom Zeeser from an engineering perspective here in the gallery to be able to address those concerns if you need them.
Yes, sir. I have a question. The original development agreement. What was parcel D designed for in the original agreement?
My understanding is parcel D was for retail and for residential.
Townhomes.
Correct.
That was in the original agreement.
I think the original agreement was apartments and
I think it was
retail, but the current one that's approved is for townhomes and retail.
As I looked at the information based on the original agreement, townhomes is what was designed in there. So essentially, it hasn't changed up to this point until we take action.
That's correct.
Now, I have the original Hammond's Ferry PD right here on my phone from 2002. and I've done an overlay of that map with the Riverside Village PD. On the original Hammond's Ferry PD, it looks like that parcel is undeveloped.
I don't believe that's the information that at least that I have.
You're talking about once we decided to develop that part, not when it was just raw land.
Well, it's dated 2017, the first development code that
Yeah,
that
that's
we
what
were
you're
issued.
asking, not 2002.
No, not 2002.
So Councilman Briatico, just to be clear, what I'm referencing is the kind of the start date of Riverside Village, which is the 2017 development. So if you have documentation that predates that to 2002, that's not a baseline the staff has been using for items inside Riverside Village, because those don't govern Riverside Village at this point in time.
Okay, well, when we say original PD, I think the Hammond's Ferry PD, which is the original PD that governed that area. And I can show you right here, parcel D is not developed on that map.
Well, I'm not sure if that's a concept sketch or is that an actual plan development?
This is the actual plan development. The company that did this was so proud of it that they left it on their website. SCAPA, South Carolina, it was given an award from SCAPA to the company that developed it, Leyland Development.
I think those are renderings.
So I think that particular item did not include the stadium or some of the other aspects of the current Riverside Village.
No,
So-
this is just straight up Hammond's Ferry PD, circa 2002.
Anybody else?
So basically, what Mr. Briatico is looking at is something that didn't even include anything from beyond the houses at Hammond's Ferry.
I think, again, I would be swimming in the deep end of the pool there, Councilman, which is, there's a Hammond's Ferry PD, which I believe is a residential document. And then at some point in time, the city council, well before many of you were seated here, went to approve Riverside Village PD, which bifurcated. So when you talk about Phase A and Phase B being the Riverside Village aspect, that is not represented in the original Hammond's Ferry PD. So the documents that govern the current Riverside Village, the master developments, all those kinds of things, rest on the foundational documents of the plan development, which was approved by the city council to show what it looks like today. So when we talk about parcel A, A1, B, D, those parcels are all listed in the Riverside Village PD.
So we're talking about two separate.
Apples and oranges right now. I understand Councilman Briatico's point about Hammond's
So what
Ferry.
I'm making reference to be clear, is I have heard 20 billion times that parcel D was always supposed to be developed,
Parcel D is,
and that is not accurate.
well,
because-
I would disagree, Councilman. Parcel D, it was named Parcel D in the Riverside Village PD. It might have been called something different in the 2002 documentation you have at your disposal there, but the current nomenclature of the various parcels, Parcel D in its naming was named Riverside Village. So maybe kind of like Prince, the formerly known as, like I'm not sure what the formerly known as
Totally cool.
with what Parcel D was, but since Parcel D has been named, that's been the use.
So we're in agreement about what piece of property, but the naming, we're separate on. But that piece of property, in the original 2002 Hammond's Ferry PD, there was much more green space left around the brick ponds, and that parcel was undeveloped. And that's all I'm saying is I've heard 100,000 times that parcel D has always been supposed to be developed. And according to the original, when we first went down there and started looking around that area and said, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, we're going to put houses here, the original intent was to leave that little corner of the brick pond undeveloped.
So again, I think when you look at those two different PDs, Councilman, you're talking about the Hammond's Ferry PD, which does not reflect the hotel, the stadium, and any of those other
No,
kinds of
this is long
aspects.
before that,
Right,
but-
and then the city council opted to go into Phase B, which is Riverside Village. And when Riverside Village was approved, that was meant to be developed at that point in time.
I read all of them page for page.
There you go.
But the reality is, there was no Brick Pond Park in 2002. It was a dead, no oxygen. It wasn't until, in the rendering that you posted, really, there's an additional rendering from that rendering that planning department has. I've seen it. I guess I should have done it. But bottom line is, that's when the city met with the developers, and developers at that time said, hey, you know what, we're not going to build a lot of the stuff that we wanted to build around the brick ponds on the north side, up at top side where the greenway is. We want to turn that into a system for storm improvement. So then that's when Bob Brooks and Tom Zeeser and Tanya Strickland, 2007, that's when the city decided to go out, when the developer got the grants, and the brick ponds were developed. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been a whole different, so again, it's real simple. If there hadn't been development there by the development in the city, there would be no Brick Pond Park today, period. It sat there 60 years dead, and the developers went out and got the grant. The city took ownership of it and built this amazing system that, quite frankly, we ought to be bragging around the country. I think we should have won an award, Tom. I don't know if we ever did, but we should have won an award for an ecosystem and what we have created there. It's something really no one else has done. It's pretty amazing. So.
And I know I've been here 75 years. And I was telling somebody today, that brick pond was nothing. No one went do it. Nobody did anything. It just sat there. Old greenish looking water. Nothing was there. This has only been about the last few years that there's all of a sudden all this excitement about it. Because it's never no one been excited about it.
I completely understand, but I do want to say that myself and probably many other people in the city have been trudging around there before the city fixed it. 15 years old, I was walking around down there.
Wasn't safe.
I mean,
It's always and I'm going to tell y'all a story
my only point is,
about Brick Pond.
is that when people first started looking at that parcel of land, the original little sketch that somebody drew out, the original plan shows that parcel as undeveloped, that little piece of property. That's my only point.
Councilman, I would say that the original design of that brick ponds was to fill them in. They were going to eliminate them. And it wasn't until the city and the developer got together that they wanted to save them. So if you want to go back to that one, you should also go back to the spot where they wanted to eliminate them completely.
We are all glad they didn't.
Any other questions? I'm sorry. All right, let's go.
So these items are linked, and actually you're going to see the three items, 8, 9, and 10, are all contingent upon each other. So essentially, if the council does not pass item 8, this ordinance that we just discussed, then there's really not much point in moving forward on 9 and 10. But I'll go ahead and, or correction, not 9 and 10. 9 and 10. So the next one is resolution number 2026-05. This was something that was originally brought to the council and tabled. It's authorizing the city to purchase real estate located within Riverside Village, specifically parcels B and D removed from the table. And then if you want to go into your council packet. So again, just to reorient the council and our citizenry, parcel D, which we've talked about in the last item ordinance, is the last really undeveloped piece of land that's there at the bottom of this hill here on Center Street, catty corner to the entrance of SRP Park. Parcel B is the stadium parking deck. So there are 3 decks that are in support of Riverside Village. And so the first is what was formerly known as the Medac deck directly across from City Hall. The second is the deck that supports the Crown Plaza. That's also a city-owned deck. And then you have Stadium Parcel B, which is the stadium deck, which is privately owned currently by Greenstone. And so ultimately, this would allow the city to move forward for a purchase price of $5 million and also abatement of taxes for this calendar year for parcels B and D to move forward for the purchase of those 2 items. And that would be paid for through the Department of Energy settlement funds, not through general fund or capital projects fund. And so again, this is a linked project. I believe our city attorney had made a comment earlier about the need for parking for parcel D. There are some other aspects out there, but parcel D is the last remaining parcel that does not have dedicated parking associated with that parcel, so it needs to have off-site parking or off-parcel parking. And Stadium Deck B is the last option for parking other than potentially the Medak deck. And it's not really realistic because people, for the most part, are doing it, traveling up to the Medak anyway. So ultimately, parcel D and B are linked. It allows for dedicated parking in the stadium parking deck, which would then become publicly owned by the city. It would also allow us to pure fleet our parking options. So our Assistant City Administrator, J.D. McCauley, has been meeting with a number of vendors just to get some different capabilities, but we're going to go out to market for a parking solution. And so ultimately, we want to have a consistent theme in Riverside Village. So we want to make sure that if you're going to park in the stadium deck or the hotel deck, that the parking mechanisms are the same. It's the same type of entry and exit system. It's the same type of electronics. And if we have an app that we don't want to have multiple variants of parking systems in Riverside Village, which we currently have today. And it's not super effective or efficient. So this solves multiple problems. It helps us solve some of the parking problems, and it also helps us start to utilize the Department of Energy funds that we have for cyber infrastructure, which is what was named. And there would still be future city council debate and involvement as far as design and engineering and placement for this building. So if you recall, a lot of the council action that occurred with the public safety headquarters, there were a number of times the staff would come to city council to get approval either financially or for design. So ultimately, item 9 allows the city administrator to enter into negotiations, which is makes it sound like we haven't already started negotiations in Kelly's ear, and our outside counsel have already drafted the agreement, which is in your council packet. If you look in there, I believe it's attachment number 9, lays out the aspects of the sale. And you can see on page 3 or page 7 of 40, the purchase price shall mean a total purchase price of $5 million and no dollars, representing the amount of the city and county property taxes. That still has to be filled in for the calendar year 2025, and that will include closing shortly after. The rest of this is kind of legal framework language, which I'm not going to bother to try to explain because Kelly can certainly do a much better job of that than I can. But ultimately, the resolution that's before you allows your city administrator to enter into final negotiations with that as the framework document to sign on your behalf as the council.
Quick question. I'm putting on my real estate app. Would we be on the hook for any rollback taxes? If there was such. I mean, probably not going to be, but just in case.
Certainly with the city buying it, there's not going to be rollback taxes. Someone else was buying it, but at the same time, the deck is already commercial.
Okay.
So I don't see any issue.
Just wanted to clarify.
The other thing I wanted to say that I probably should have covered earlier in item number 8, which I guess flows into 9 as well, is you have a general development plan revision which involves parcel D, but there's no revision required for parcel B, Bravo, because the usage is not changing. It's still parking. So you're not changing the parking deck to be something that's not a parking deck. It's still parking. So regardless of who the owner is, whether it's privately held or publicly held, the usage in that parcel is identical.
Mr. Clifford, the parking deck, it's mostly concrete. Would you say it is in good shape, excellent shape, maintenance-wise, elevator works, or any issues at all?
Without a PE designator behind my name,
Mr. Zeser?
I would say that it's in good shape. We're certainly well familiar with that deck. We also do fire inspections in that deck for the elevator aspects, so our public safety is in there on a recurring basis, as they are with all of our decks that involve elevators. And so we have a level of familiarity with that deck, and also we have a level of familiarity and comfort because the Augusta Green Jackets have been managing that deck and we have a relationship with the Augusta Green Jackets. So I think we have a good reservoir of knowledge on the deck. There are no engineering concerns that have been brought to the table by our Director of Public Works and Engineering, Tom Zeser. And so again, the decks are in good shape, and I would actually say parcel B, the stadium deck, is likely in better shape than the hotel deck because it was built later. So the hotel deck was finished first, and parcel B was actually finished after I had started employment here at the city after 2020. So that deck is newer.
And isn't parcel B, the parking deck, the largest of the 3 decks?
I'll defer to JD since he's the parking number guy, but I think the answer is yes.
It's a close second. The Medac building, the Medac deck across the street, I believe, has a few more spaces.
Okay. So I guess I kind of want to go back to understanding. Once we vote this, is this going to be a single vote resolution, first of all?
It is, just like any other contract authorization. You're not doing an ordinance change, so that's why you voted twice, or will vote twice, for the planning and development action, because that's an ordinance change. But the resolution that has to do with purchasing is a one-time vote, so it's a single vote action.
So we will untable and vote all in the same day?
That is correct. That's my understanding, Councilman.
Okay. Now, I kind of want to go back to the very beginning. So there's just one thing that I'm not quite understanding. We win this money in the DOE settlement, the state does. They say, okay, we're splitting it between these. Aiken County, you get this much, which means Aiken, you get this much. Aiken County, you get this much. City of North Augusta, you get this much. How did we get to the point where, which I obviously know about the lock and dam and why we need that and stuff. Did the state come to us and say, we'll give you so much for a cyber center, or is that something that somebody within the city asked for?
We were approached by the delegation, and this actually, I recall this because it happened in the first 90 days that I was employed in the city, and they did an all-call. So for all of the eligible municipalities and counties, they asked for a project listing and said, hey, tell us what kind of aspects that you could ask for. And just like we deal with a number of things with the delegation, not everything is going to be feasible. So they may say, hey, I'm going off memory, not email traffic. We may have talked about trying to get additional fire trucks, and so I think the discussion at that point in time was, hey, that's not going to make it through the legislature process because, again, it has to get voted on by the legislature. What are the projects that you have? So we gave a number of projects that were potentially, and I remember James Sutton had proposed the transfer station as something that was needed, so that made the list. We were talking about the lock and dam because that's still a concern item because that affects obviously everybody here in the CSRA, but certainly was another item. And then we also talked about cyber infrastructure, which is not unlike the city of Aiken because they got Department of Energy money for the building they just put in their downtown. And so I think we were coordinating between the multiple entities about what our project lists were going to be. And so that's how I think cyber got into the mix of what can actually pass through the legislature and what are the needs of the city at the time.
So it was the city that suggested to the state that we want cyber.
That's correct.
Okay. Were any of the other things that people mentioned have been coming to the city council and asking for over the years asked for?
You have to give me some specific examples.
Senior center, animal shelter, more sidewalks,
No.
resurfaced road,
No, and I know roads were not considered, and if you look at the legislative list or the Department of Energy, recipients, they were also looking at projects that weren't going to already be covered by things that are normally covered by penny sales tax or C-Fund or any number of other funding venues. And I would tell you that animal control and senior centers were not something that was discussed as a city council priority in 2020.
Okay, thank you. So,
Just, I want to mention, Dennis, about those sidewalks. Tom, you remember years ago when we had the fund for sidewalks in North Augusta? Well, this neighbor on this side wanted the sidewalk. This neighbor on this side didn't want the sidewalk. It was a headache because you never could get everybody together who wanted the sidewalks.
totally understand. Just out of all the things we could have asked for, is just kind of where I'm going with this.
I will say, I had a conversation with Representative Hickson about 30 minutes before coming in the room about this topic, and he said if we do not use the money for cyber-related projects, it will more than likely be taken away. He said it went through the House, the Ways and Means Committee voted on it for that, and for us to come back and say something different is not going to go.
Understood, but I'm just more or less trying to get to the point that that's something that the city asked for. And if we vote this resolution, this locks the DOE funding in, which means the only way we can go back, if we can go back at all, is to repay the state, or this is a cyber center, period.
I would say most likely, yes, Councilman.
Thank you.
All good questions. Anybody else before we move on? All right.
All right, we'll move into new business. So the first one is under Planning and Development, ordinance number 2026-08, authorizing and approving the execution and delivery of a fifth amendment to master development agreement and a development inducement agreement and other matters relating thereto, first reading. So you have, I believe, a copy of a binder on your portion of the dais. This is a lot of documents in here. But really what I would direct you to is the Fifth Amendment. So every time we make a major change, or you make a major change, I don't make any changes, you all make changes to Riverside Village, and then there's a master development agreement which dictates how the village is constructed as far as the items. And so I think if you go, I would have you go way to the back of the items, because these other ones are historical, because these are all adopted. So you have a First Amendment, a Second Amendment, a Third Amendment, and a Fourth Amendment, and those all amendments are ones that were previously passed by city councils through vote. And now you have the proposed Fifth Master Development Agreement, which is also tied to the earlier actions of 8 and 9, which have to do with the purchase of B and D. And so if you go to the second page, there you can see paragraph 5 as kind of the guts of it, which talks about Exhibit A, which is the Fifth Amendment to the MDA, and that according to the master developer desires to revise the master plan with respect to parcel D as in Delta, including changing the planned use of parcel D and updating the status of the parcel D project described in the master development agreement. And 2, as requested, the city and certain owners enter an amendment to the master development agreement for the purpose of making certain amendments and modifications to the master development agreement and the master plan. So when we do significant changes to the village and that changes of usage, that requires a change in the master development agreement. And so that's the language that you have here in your binder, is that change to the MDA, and that's a 2-vote item, Councilman Bradico, to your point about things that involve zoning and regulations. Those are a 2-vote action, not a 1-vote action.
So for example, the Fourth Amendment was when we changed the South City Partners and we made the adjustment on those parcels.
Correct. But again, these are linked items. So if, for example, one of those items didn't pass, then there's no point in changing the MDA, the Master Development Agreement, because that's why it's in the batting order that it is. You'll have plenty of time to look at that over the week, but that's the language is very similar, and I don't know if Kelly had any additional feedback, but I'm trying to keep it at the Cliff Notes version of, hey, that's what that MDA change really does.
Any questions for anybody? All right, let's move on.
All right, I'm going to probably have Tommy come up here and be prepared to talk on this one a little more. And this is item number 11 under Planning and Development, ordinance number 2026-09, to approve the general development plan for the 201.8 acres, the Hive plan development on the east side of West Martintown Road between Knobcone Avenue and Interstate 20. First reading, this is an item that went to the Planning Commission. My understanding is it actually decreases the number of lots and size of the lots for the Hive. And so just to reorient you to the Hive, if you're going west to east, the Hive is at exit 1. You have a commercial component which sits on the Martintown Road side. You have a middle portion which you can already see the apartment buildings that are going up, because you can see those both from Martintown Road and also from Interstate 20. And then on the east side of the development, which kind of is behind the North Augusta High School, is the single-family home component by Stanley Martin, and that's what this portion relates to, is the homes, the single-family residences. And based on the site conditions that they ran into, they decided it was more advantageous to decrease the size of lots and decrease the total number of homes there for the general development plan. Tommy, did I get that right?
And it also allows some buffering that'll be common area. They could make the 3/4 to 1/4 acre lots, but by doing it this way, there's common areas, there's buffering between the houses and the interstate, and the yards don't back up. And so the drainage swells will be able to work, won't be through people's yards.
So,
Quick question, is this gonna create any additional green space?
It'll increase buffers.
Okay.
Now, kinda, yeah. When you say green space, are you talking, it's not increasing parks,
yeah.
but it'll be increasing undeveloped space, which will be, not be part of a lot.
Yep, that's what I'm getting at.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the houses, the lots will be smaller, but there'll be more common space in between the homes?
Yes, so there'll actually be 23 less lots, the way they redesigned it.
And why was that decided? I mean, is there a reason they said to do that?
Terrain.
Huh.
Terrain.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh,
Sorry, topography of the land drain. Yeah, no. Well, the rain would cause problems. Yeah. Good questions.
So I know some citizens came out that live on near the back of the Hive at the Planning Commission, and talked about their desire to not have a connection to that road. The city staff is still of the opinion that that connection needs to exist for public safety in order to reach all of the homes, the single-family homes in the Hive in a timely manner. Right now, the fastest response would be out of Fire Station 2. Which is there off 5 Notch Road. So the transit time coming down 5 Notch through the county road into the back of the Hive is the fastest response that we can have for any kind of fire event within that development. If there was a Fire Station 4 in existence, which there is not, in the Exit 1 corridor, which is planned for in CPSD 5, then that connection, would really be a philosophical discussion amongst the council to say, hey, do we want connectivity in our neighborhoods or not? But from a staff perspective, by not having that connection, you're going to increase the response time to city residents for fire response, which is not our recommendation.
Mr. Paradise, just from a timeline point of view, we've got the apartments are up, they're working on single-family homes. At what point are they going to begin the commercial development? We've got people that are going to be moving to the area here, and there's not going to be any amenities for them.
So, Councilman, I'll take that as a due-out action and have that discussion with the developer. I know that the intention was to start development in 2026 for the commercial aspect, but I don't have a current timeline, from McKnight at this time. I would agree, though, that of the things that are going into that location, commercial is definitely what's been requested by the citizens. Certainly, the folks that live north of I-20 and in the areas right around that neighborhood are interested in grocery stores and those kinds of amenities to be able to have a quicker turn to shopping opportunities. But the plan, the PD, the plan development there specifically lays out commercial there on Martintown Road. So again, that would not change unless you as a city council were approached by the developer to change it and then approved that change. But right now, it's still listed as commercial there on the Martintown Road frontage.
Mr. Clifford or Mr. Paradise, are they, I know they've worked a lot on the apartments. Are they starting to lease those at this point? Or are they not at that level yet?
We're getting close to the COs. We have done the inspections on the clubhouse, and I believe they're in there on a temporary type basis. But the apartments, to the best of my knowledge, they're not leasing yet, but they're getting close.
The apartments across the street from Martintown Road, the development that's up on the hill,
Parkers?
is it, yeah. Do you have any, they're completely developed up there?
They are.
Yeah. Do you know how popular they've been?
It's been several months, I think, probably going on 5 or 6 months now before me going back and talking to the general manager there. But they were, I think, 60 to 70% filled at that point in time. So there's definitely demand there.
They're nice. They're nice apartments.
I know some people that live there and they love it.
Yeah, they're nice. All good questions continue. Anything else on this one? All right. Thank you, Tommy. All right, Jim.
So for the next 3 items, items 12, 13, and 14, I'm going to defer to our Assistant City Administrator, J.D. McCauley. So J.D., I'll turn it over to you, starting with item number 12.
Great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item, Resolution 2026-21, is to add additional golf cart parking in Riverside Village and do additional safety improvements. So we had a great response from the improvements you authorized for the new bollards that you saw down in Riverside Village with the baseballs. And we had, we've implemented the high enforcement zone and also valet successfully. And in implementing the valet, we realized that a lot of folks want more golf cart parking. And so in response to that, we have currently a proof of concept that it'll be ready for opening day for the Green Jackets, which is additional golf cart parking, which is in the area of where they had the construction trailer and the laydown yard, which is referred to as Parcel D. They had that improved. They had some rock put down there for that construction trailer. So we have that ready to go. We worked with the existing property owner to allow golf cart parking. And if the other resolution to buy the parcel goes forward, then this resolution asks for additional funding to further improve that lot for golf cart parking. It wouldn't be a permanent improvement because it would be temporarily improved until construction on a larger building would come forward. It's years down the road. But this is an interim solution that provides about 55 additional golf cart parking spots right there, really close to restaurants and the hotel. Green Jackets especially will help with our surge parking. And you can see the layout that engineering put together as depicted in Exhibit A. And then in Exhibit B is improvements to the median. So the pedestrian area between the Crown Plaza and SRP Park is an area that is unofficially was used for some car parking, golf cart parking, all of the above, and we're looking to make improvements there to further enhance it to be a pedestrian-only area. It includes adding benches and some tables, which will also serve as bollards. These would be concrete benches, so additional seating area for folks. The original concept we had for golf cart parking did include this median. However, when I met with our city staff, also we get parking consultation in our valet group right now. They're also a parking consultant. So in working with them, we tried to make it work where we fit golf carts or some additional parking in that center area. But the issue we kept running into was we started to violate our initial, our whole concept down there of keeping pedestrians safe. And so when you have the mixture of cars and golf carts all kind of mixing together on the sidewalks, which that is technically a sidewalk, we just couldn't make it work. Also with it would create just additional congestion, hurts the flow of that whole area. And what we did was we took a step back and we decided to push the golf cart parking across the street and keep this pedestrian only. And part of this resolution also asks for funding to do some repairs for the vehicles that have been parking there. There's been a lot of damage to that pavilion. The pavers were not meant for that type of weight to be on that area for as long as it has. You see a lot of what looks like settling. So this is an ask that we fund this endeavor through Riverfront Central Core. We're asking for an amount not to exceed. On the resolution is a typo. It's supposed to be $270,000. And that's all inclusive of both Exhibit A and B. And I'll pause for questions.
I like the idea of those benches, because a real-world example, had family and guests in town for Masters, so we took the trolley from my office on West down to Riverside Village.
Did you use the app?
We did.
Excellent.
Got out of the app, walked the Greenway, walked through Hammond's Ferry, came back, but we had about a 3-minute wait on the trolley as we were tracking it, and my cousin said, "Man, I wish we had a bench to sit on."
Well, we heard you.
The benches are good. That's going to be exciting, yeah.
Mr. McCauley, the golf cart parking, how do you prevent vehicles from parking?
That's a good question. We have the openings, so the curb cuts that will be planned in the semi-permanent improvements before the building is put there. We're going to put a ramp on the curb, and the entrance will be narrow, only for golf carts. So it'll be narrow enough just for golf carts. There's a one-way in and a one-way out. So the entrance will be closest to where the closest to the stadium, and the exit will be closest to the hotel deck. So it's a one-way in, one-way out, narrow entrance.
And will parking spaces be identified, or is it free-for-all?
In the interim, initially, it's going to be a little bit of a free-for-all, but when we make the improvements, we'll be able to identify them. So we'll have spaces marked.
Are the golf cart parking where we moved it to the bollards in front of southbound, that will remain?
Our goal is to move all golf cart parking to this new lot, just to help ease with congestion, because we found that even though we kept it in the same area, having all the mixing in that roundabout really has created quite a lot of confusion, stress, congestion. So we're trying to ease that as much as we can.
And then just one more question out of curiosity. Were we like not towing vehicles last week during Masters Week? Because I know when we were down there for the reception for the women's amateur, there were illegally parked cars everywhere.
Well, we can tow as much as you like. So we are towing enforcement is well underway, but the problem is we don't catch everyone. So our towing is in full effect. We are towing multiple cars on the daily, and if you notice down there, it does have a little bit less of congestion, but there are times we don't talk to them, or I'm sorry, we don't catch them. And people get away with it, just like speeding down Martintown Road. If we don't catch you, Literally correct. We have that a few times, yes, sir. But yeah, we are still enforcing. Even during Masters, we talked with the hotel owner of some people that were staging for picking up folks. We had to have them move because they were parked illegally in the yellow. So again, we try to give people as enough warning as possible, but towing is the last ditch effort we have to make enforcement possible.
JD, if this gets approved on Monday, realistically, what's our time frame to going in and getting this thing marked? Because we're going to put nice black fencing. I mean, this is going to make it look nice.
Correct.
And drive gravel. What is that time frame? Do you think, will y'all be coming back to us for anything?
We won't be coming back to you. We'll be off to the races to get this done and turned. I don't want to give you a date, but it'll be on the front burner to put this stuff in, get it ordered, and get it in and get it installed. That's why we have the interim solution now. I mean, it's going to be launched tomorrow. We've worked in partnership with people who own the parcel now. So we're going to it's going to be in effect essentially tomorrow. We're going to advertise if you guys view this favorably.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We've gone from 5 maybe that were designated to a hodgepodge of 10 to 11 parking where you shouldn't have.
Right.
Nice, now 55. We're not messing with the woods. That's a great plan, JD.
Okay.
One more question.
Sure.
The people that drive their vehicles there pay for parking, $5, $6, $7, whatever it is.
Correct.
Do golf carts pay?
At this time, golf carts are to follow the same rules as everyone, so they would be paying for their spaces as everyone else does at the current moment. Now, that's subject to change because, as Mr. Clifford mentioned, we have a bid out for folks to do an overhaul of our system, which would account for golf carts, do a better way of managing them. But let's say for a game day, the Green Jackets are managing that. So if you come down for a game and you have a golf cart, you'll be dealing with the Green Jacket special event parking.
Is this not tied to the actions of 8, 9, and 10? Attachments 8, 9, and 10.
Yes, sir. If it's not purchased, we won't move forward with improving that lot because we won't own it. But in the interim, we have approval with the property owner until they develop it to stage golf carts there. We just wouldn't make any more improvements.
So we're looking to rezone this, authorize the purchase, and then authorize golf parking for this lot all in one day.
Yes, sir.
I just kind of want to lump all this up together for a minute. Like, I understand that we have to spend the $14 million and the little bit of interest or we'll lose it. But what I just don't understand is, I understand who the golf parking benefits, obviously, and I understand that it's needed. I've been down there, I see the situation. The Cyber Center is zero tax revenue to the city, right? The city gets no taxes off of that.
It depends on what the client is going to be inside the cyber center. So the answer is the intent of your city administrator is to make sure that that building will at least be revenue neutral. But it's also fair to say that, do I envision this being a large tax generating event at Parcel D? No.
So, other than the few lucky people from the city of North Augusta who end up scoring a job there, there's almost no benefit to the citizens of North Augusta. Whereas, just leaving it green space and park space that everybody could visit, thousands of people already visit that park space a year, and thousands of people benefit. I just don't understand why we're doing this. I just don't see how this is what's best for North Augusta in the long term. Why a cyber center right there? What does this, other than those people going out to lunch and that type of thing, there's no tax benefit to the city. Most of the people that go to work there are not going to be from the city. I just don't understand. What overall benefit does this give to our people?
Councilman, nobody goes to visit Parcel D. Nobody goes there to visit Parcel D.
If it was park space, people would.
No, it wouldn't stop them. Nobody goes there to see it. They're going to see the park. They're not going to see, they're not going to see
I am looking
Parcel
at
D.
3 or 4 people in this dais that go to Parcel D and take pictures. People, I've had people write me from out of state that have driven to North Augusta to take pictures of the wood ducks while they're back in the cove on
Wood
Parcel
ducks
D.
are not in Parcel D, they're in the pond. They're in the wood duck boxes of the pond.
They're in the pond. The back of that building is going to be extremely close to the pond. I'm not saying it's going to destroy the pond. I don't think anybody is. The more we develop, the more we displace wildlife. It's that simple. There's no unequivalating it. The more you develop along the edge of the brick pond, the more you displace wildlife. There's no other way. The vibration, the noise, the traffic, animals don't want to be there. There's no other way to put it. To me, the biggest benefit to all of this is to leave it green space so people can go there and take pictures. It gives everybody a chance in North Augusta to benefit without having any investment. Not everybody can afford to go down to Riverside Village and do everything. Not everybody can go afford a big meal at Brinkley Steakhouse. Everybody can go walk around our park space.
And they can,
Almost
they can still
nobody
do that.
is going to,
There are
who is
no,
going to go
That's
visit the
not
cyber
even an
center?
option here. We've discussed this over and over. It's either leave it alone and let townhouses be built.
No, because
or
the
do
other option
something
is that
differently and have the cyber center
We
built.
get the little bit of money that they want for it and we buy it and dedicate it to the park space. It's not very much.
Well, let me say one thing.
Well, Hurricane Helene displaced animals. I mean,
Yeah, everything.
Are we Hurricane Helene? We're comparing ourselves to a natural disaster now.
now I'm just saying, we are trying to put our personal human mind in animals. They migrate, they change, they move from place to place.
People
We
benefit
can't control that.
from the wildlife being there. It's good for you.
You ran your campaign complaining that there were not enough good jobs in the city of North Augusta, and we have an opportunity to get some
And I
good
don't
jobs
see
here.
this-
And you're solely against it.
I don't see this handful of jobs being worth taking the property away from the citizens and not doing what the citizens want.
Well, can I, s-
If it was 1,000 jobs, maybe, but it's not even going to be like 10, 25 jobs probably for people that actually live in the city.
well, I don't, the cyber center for me, why I'm gonna vote for it is because it is not for this group right now. This is for generations to come. This city has always built out, this building's built out for 50 years. I'll be dead and gone. Listen, and I think we're very fortunate that we've got Jim Clifford, and I'm not throwing a monkey on his back, but do we have somebody that's been in with cyber and all of that for years, and he's here that could present this, that's going to cause. And I want to ask, how many out there know what a cyber center is? Stand up and tell me. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, you can't speak. Sit down, I'm sorry. Study
getting a little
session.
excited.
Yeah, I'll
Let's
ask
try
my
to-
own self.
Pat-
All right, I'm sorry.
No,
Who?
ma'am,
Nobody
we're
in a
not
study
doing this
session
now.
can
Pat
do
got a little
anything.
out of hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I think, because somebody's called me 2 or 3 times, we don't want a data center. I said, that's not even what we're talking about. I'm telling you, people do not, Sharon, people do not half the time know, and I'm not saying you don't know, young lady up here, but like I said, we are looking at the future of our young people. These kids are in Hammond Hill Elementary, North Augusta, Belvedere. Here we go, throw Bell. This is what we're looking at. Now, do we love animals? We do, Dennis. But I think we're just putting too much. We're leaving humans out. I want to know I'm going to finish my statement. I think hang around me Christmas when there's 290-something children that have no Christmas. Do I want to put it down here somewhere? No. I mean, we have got to look at human beings for a while. And I'm sorry, and I know I'm going to make everybody mad. But I'm telling you, and I thank God every day Jim Clifford, all of our directors, and JD and Jamie are here. This city is so much better, I think, than it ever was because of their knowledge and what they're looking at. And I know I'm not the smartest duck up here on this panel, but I do trust Jim, the directors, and JD. God didn't put me here to know everything. He put me here to put my faith and trust in what they're telling us. And I just don't understand that, but thank God we all have an opinion.
Ms. Pat,
Thank God
there's
it's America.
absolutely no guarantee that that cyber center will benefit your grandchildren in the future, or that there will even be anybody in the building that we're
But
trying
you've
to
got to
rent or
train
sell.
these people, am I
But
wrong?
I can promise you that park space will benefit your children, your grandchildren, your
I
great-grandchildren.
doubt it, because none of them ever go down there. I wouldn't go down there because of the alligators myself, but, and I'm just so afraid somebody's gonna get hurt down there.
Are they going to visit a cyber center?
Huh? Do what?
We got kids at the high school right
Are they-
now
are they gonna
competing.
visit a cyber
Compete?
There's a cyber team at the
Cyber
high
team,
school.
that's right.
Competing all the time. So yes, it's for there will be youth that will need that.
Then they can go to downtown Augusta where they're having trouble filling up their cyberspace.
Well, why do we want to send them to Augusta?
Because they're having trouble filling up their cyberspace. You're building a building not knowing whether or not you're going to have an occupant.
I know we heard already that there were people wanting to be here, and because we didn't have anything available, they had to go somewhere else.
And now there is no guarantee that anybody wants to come here. And that's my exact point.
Well, there's no guarantee we're gonna be at this meeting next week.
Right.
Okay, so moving on from golf cart parking and pedestrian safety improvements, the next item on the agenda is Parks and Rec. This is CPST 4 Activity Center improvements. This is something we discussed at the leadership offsite, and so this is a request that's come from Parks and Rec. We reprioritized CPST 4, you reprioritized CPST 4 a few weeks ago, and this item was on the on that list. And what our Parks and Rec Director, Rick Meyer, has done is put together a list and gone out and received pricing for all the improvements. And he was actually able to improve one thing that wasn't on the list, which you asked for, which was automated basketball goals in gyms 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I know 2 of you are going to be very happy for that. We are moving on up, yep. So this includes track replacement, refinishing the gym floors. These are the basketball gym floors. Those basketball goal upgrades that I just talked about. Now it's the locker room renovations are also on this list. Repairing your interior walls, new fitness center and cardio equipment, and then refurbishing the air handlers in gyms 5 and 6. These are, again, items that we discussed. So this comes to an an amount not to exceed 1.2 million, which was contemplated in the CPST4 reprioritization. So I'll pause here for any questions.
Improvements to the activity center are long overdue. It's an excellent facility that gets tens of thousands of visitors a month. I can't think of a better way to spend the money.
Excellent.
Any other questions for Mr. McCauley? All right, go ahead.
Okay, hearing none, moving on to item number 14, planning and development. This is a fun part of the project, where the fun phase of a project we talked about before, which was Creighton Park Phase 2. Again, if you remember, the bathroom facility was built and is being donated by North Augusta Ford to the city. And as part of that process, they would like to put a mural installation on the facility, and that application has gone to our planning and development department, and Tommy has reviewed that, and it follows our code, and only thing it needs to do is come before council for approval, and that is what we're bringing it forward to you for consideration. And so that item is in your packet, including the artwork as Exhibit A. Pause for any questions?
Yeah, I don't think and I'm sorry, I'm just scared to death of alligators. Is that not an alligator right there? I think that needs to come off somewhere.
I think it's an ugly dog.
What?
I think it's an ugly dog.
A what now? Ugly dog. Well, I thought it was a sloth or something. It looks like, but now I see it's an alligator. I mean, why are we putting an alligator over there where children play?
I do not have a comment for the
I mean,
art
is that
choice.
something we can tell?
I'm not qualified to answer that question.
So
but I-
instead of being North Augusta Yellow Jackets, we're gonna change to North Augusta Gators. That's somebody asked me why we went with Gators.
Everything
I
out
just
there,
don't like that gator on there. I mean,
everything out there living in this world is relevant.
what?
Everything out there in this world alive is relevant. It's all part of the circle of life.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And we can't teach our kids to be scared of everything or they'll never do
I'm
anything.
not gonna let mine go down by alligator now, I'm gonna tell you that.
Well, we start seeing alligators down there, we're in trouble, so I think we're
Okay,
gonna be okay.
well, they might think alligators welcome, because there's a water stream. I mean, that's all, I like the design, I think it's very pretty.
I think we're good.
Okay. Now I'll turn it back over to Mr. Clifford for the remainder of the agenda.
So item number 15, under Engineering and Public Works, and again, if you have very specific questions, then Tom Zeser is available to talk about that. Resolution number 2026-24, which is a separate item that should be there on the dais for you, is a late ad authorizing the city of North Augusta amending the previously authorized budget for the watershed tree cutting, removal, and disposal project. So as you recall, Tom Zeser went and got us a significant grant from the NRCS, the National Natural Resource Conservation Service, which includes 2 projects, one of which has to do with formerly known as Willowwick Apartments and the stabilization of that creek bank and dealing with the erosion that's there where that project is ongoing. And then also the project of cleaning out the waterways, fallen tree and debris into the stormwater basins. And so that project has been moving along very well. I think we've gone through a total of 5 or 6 sites at this point in time. I think the last area they were working on was up in the Walnut Lane area there near exit 5. And in the course of the work, basically have determined that there is, still a significant amount of debris and deadfall that affect the waterways. And so if you go through the language here, we have a grant budget, which is 100% reimbursable for $843,000. You, as the council, had previously authorized expenditures of just under $600,000 in resolution number 2025-23, 2026-11, and 2026-12, leaving a balance of $247,000. And whereas the contractor T&T Landworks has submitted a change order to get some of the remainder of this deadfall that's down there, that will allow us to increase the project budget by $60,000 for the total project not to exceed $280,000 for that portion. So again, this all falls within the grant limit, so we'll still be 100% reimbursable on the grant. We're just saying that we'd like to take the current contract amount that was approved previously by council and increase that contract to an amendment to the contract to get the additional deadfall items there that we've identified in the stormwater basins. Okay,
We're good.
And then I have a verbal ad. Tom had presented to me late last week, and so I know we've got a full agenda, but since we're meeting anyway, might as well get everything on the table that we can. And so Tom has gone out and achieved engineering contract for Bolin Road. So this would be for the engineering work because again, the subsurface needs some additional repair. So that requires a little bit of additional engineering. And so he's got an engineering contract through Kimley Horn, which I believe would not exceed $25,000 to do the engineering aspect of it. And then there'll be a subsequent resolution for the remainder of the paving. So we're breaking that project into two parts. But Bolin Road is one of the projects that Tom Zeser had presented at the council offsite as needing improvement based on the cracked subsurface. And so ultimately, that's the first step in moving that project forward.
Good.
And the funding mechanism would be CPSD 4. Mr. Mayor, subject to any questions on the agenda review, I'm going to turn it over to Jamie Paul to go through department details.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First up is Finance Director Linda Williamson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Finance updates for tonight. Cycle 2 customers, they have a disconnection date set for Tuesday, April 14th. That will last about 2 to 3 days, and that's for their February balances and that are past due. They have a due date for their March 25th bills, and that is going to be April 20th. Cycle 1 customers, they have a disconnection date scheduled for their March balances beginning Tuesday, April 21st. Due date for their April 10th bills is May 4th. Business license renewals, the due date for that is going to be April 30th. Penalties will begin on May 1st, and those are 5% per month that they're late. Taxes are due May 1st, and penalties will be added on May 2nd for those unpaid tax bills. Just a note that if your tax bill is postmarked by 5/1, those will be labeled as on time. And then for our good news, our 2024 financial audit, the GFOA announced on March 26th that the city's 2024 annual comprehensive financial report was awarded the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting.
Great job, Linda.
And that's all I have for today.
Got a quick question. So the billings that people starting to get, are we past the winter billing piece?
We are. They should start seeing their new averages starting this month.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Next up is Human Resources Manager Kayla Ferguson.
Evening, Mayor and Council. If you look on the back of your department details, you'll see we have an employee appreciation event on April the 25th at SRP Park. 28th, I'm sorry, thank you. April 28th at SRP Park. And then on the last page of your department detail sheet, you will see our open employment opportunities.
Thank you. Next up is Engineering and Public Works Director Tom Zeser.
Good evening. Today, construction work began on the Woodlawn Crestview Drainage Improvement Project. We're glad to finally kick that off. Work is primarily initially going to be just clearing, preparing for the major construction. And although we have no road closures specifically scheduled, there will be on the 500 block of Woodlawn Avenue. There will be a lot of construction activity, vehicles entering and exiting that site, so there will be likely intermittent lane closures throughout the duration of the project. The contractor also has set up a pump to divert the current flow that is continual in that ditch. So there will be some noise associated with that pump up on Crestview Avenue throughout the duration of that project. As the debris contract for the NRCS grant does continue. It's been a very active process over the past couple of weeks, and the site that was associated with the change order that we just discussed is primarily the Walnut Lane tract around the Walnut Lane Park and Boardwalk. And the original estimate on that site, which was very hard to actually, we couldn't actually enter the site to even count trees, but was approximately 100 trees. And so far, the contractor has removed 450 fallen trees just from that parcel alone. But that work is hopefully wrap up this week, and then the contractor will be moving on to the area on Jackson Avenue near what's called Briggs Pond, and also the city parcel, referred to it as the Mokatine Avenue parcel nearby. And then lastly, city crews are performing routine detention pond maintenance, and actually forgot my list of sites, but I believe they're working Wando Woodlands and Village of Bergen Place over currently and over the next few weeks.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Next up is Planning Development Director Tommy Paradise.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tomorrow evening, we'll be having the Board of Zoning Appeals, and then Wednesday night, we'll have the Planning Commission. We have a trifecta this week.
Thanks, Tommy. Next up is Public Service Director James Sutton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Last week, utilities started replacing the Carolina Springs wastewater lift station that was originally constructed in 1953. The wastewater station is located on the southeast section of Carolina Springs Road behind Crestland Subdivision. The wastewater flows from Crestland Subdivision down the hill by gravity to this station. In return, the station pumps the water back up the hill to Brigham Road. It's a very much needed project. It's going to improve the reliability of the station so we can more modernize the telemetry system. We're adding a diesel pump for emergency pump systems so that we can move the wastewater in the event of a power failure, a hurricane, tornado, whatever event may occur, so we can protect the environment. But that project's going to take 3 or 4 weeks to complete. It's a part of the ARPA funding. Also, City Council approved in the 26 budget to pay a portion of that as well. That project for ARPA's got to be, the RIA has got to be closed out by June 1st. So we got to take receipt of the station, so we anticipate it'll be here next Monday. Moving on to the good stuff to color up the city. Roy Kibler, our maintenance superintendent of our property maintenance, and his staff will start next week installing spring flowers to beautify the city. They'll be installed at various locations at our landscape sites, on our easements and right-of-ways. So we're looking forward to that, adding a little beauty to our city.
Thank you, James.
Also, if I could, just to add on our public services crew, they've done a lot of oversight, and they have largely wrapped up most of the wastewater projects that were approved by the council through ARPA and also based on our RIA grant. So the wastewater interceptor pipes, the 3 that were listed previously in CPST 4 that were funded through ARPA and RIA are completed. That also included some additional work, which was originally not part of the scope of the project, which included the industrial park, this Carolina Springs lift station, which is upcoming, and then also, importantly, a lot of old infrastructure in Crestland and Lyndhurst, subdivisions of 8-inch pipe that's been slip lined through a number of contractors we have that have been in support. So James has been juggling a lot of balls with a lot of different projects, but the wastewater project in particular has been very successful. and really touches a large portion of the city.
Great job, James.
And also shout out to the beautification committee up there. The flowers downtown North Augusta are absolutely beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Public Safety, Captain Hayes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A couple updates. I'm happy to report Chief Johnson and our fire division leadership made it safely to Braden, Florida today to take delivery of our new tanker truck. If all goes well with inspection, they'll be headed back to the city on Wednesday. And we plan to have a ceremonial push-in of that new tanker truck Friday at 2 p.m. at our Station 3. If anything changes or there's delays, we'll put that out there. Also, over the past 2 weeks, public safety officers were able to provide over 450 hours of special duty coverage for various security requests related to our guests that have been in town for all the golf tournaments. So we were able to cover them all.
Great, thank you, Cap.
Captain, how do they bring the tanker truck? They drive it?
Yes, sir.
That would be awesome.
Yes, sir. You can get it delivered, but that's kind of like your test drive home, right? So but they'll be driving it back. Yes, sir.
Captain, I have a question for you. When it concerns the new Edgefield County part of North Augusta, are we instructing the animal control officer to pick up stray animals, or are they being diverted to Edgefield County shelter?
Parts of the city that are in Edgefield County?
Yes, sir.
If it's in the city, we'll take them.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Captain Hayes. Next up is Park and Recreation Director Rick Meyer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. After a 2+ week spring break for the students, we resume spring sports tonight. So Riverview Park is nice and crowded with over 1,400 participants playing spring sports. Second on my list tonight, I have a senior program update, and I have brought with me Program Coordinator Tori Roberts to give you that update.
Evening. I'd like to share a quick update regarding our senior programming. My name is Tori Roberts. I'm a program coordinator for Parks and Recreation. In January, I took on the added responsibilities of coordinating senior activities in the city of North Augusta. My responsibilities now involve managing and updating the city's website with senior-focused programming, gathering and coordinating information for organizations throughout the city to ensure our seniors are aware of available resources and events, and serving as a host for programs and activities that directly benefit our senior community. Prior to January, we offered a variety of senior programs, including senior fitness classes, yoga, jazzercise, pickleball, and table tennis. We are continuing to offer those things, but this year I've been focused on expanding and communicating, specifically promoting and providing information to ensure our seniors are aware of all available programs within the city limits of North Augusta. I've continued to add to the range of events on the city calendar. These include activities hosted by local organizations such as First Baptist, Sweetwater Baptist, Victory Baptist, and the Nancy Carson Library, where they're having a sewing and quilting class. I think it's monthly. We're growing our in-house programming. We've started a new card-making class at the Activity Center that's had a pretty good turnout as well. We have started building new partnerships with organizations. Most recently, we partnered with Centerwell Senior Primary Care to host educational events, including presentations on how to spot scams and informational sessions on veteran Medicare benefits. Approximately half of our senior fitness class attended the Spot the Scam presentation. So these efforts not only are serving the broader community, but are providing valuable resources to the members we currently serve at Riverview Park. Looking ahead, we're excited to launch several new opportunities, including a Mahjong group on Thursdays and a walking club Mondays and Fridays, also in partnership with Centerwell. I will continue adding more events to the city calendar as new information becomes available. You can find all of these updates on our city website.
Is there a link, or if I go to the city website, what am I looking for?
Yes, so on the city website, you would go to the residents tab, go to the event calendar, and from here you can click on each event and it should give you a detail, like location and where it's at and time.
Is there a way, you might have already done it, but is there a way either on the Parks and Rec Facebook page, we can somehow send something out to let people know where to find it?
Yes.
How do we do that?
I've put it on our like business profile portion of the Facebook page, which is like in the left panel, and I've posted it a couple times. I do it like once a month.
Two things. First of all, great job. Two things I'm so excited about. Just for our citizens to understand, this happened because our council, these 7 folks on here, put in the budget that, hey, we needed to begin to figure out a way. How do we get information out to our seniors? How do we look at building partnerships? Two things you said I think is very important. One is you're already adding new programs. We're thinking outside the box. I know you've done some sitting chair volleyball or something. So we're trying to figure that piece out. But the other thing is, yes, at some point down the road, we hear always about a senior center. And in a perfect world, maybe at some point down the road, there'll be a council in the city will go in that direction. But here's the thing. We have so many partnership opportunities. We have churches that do not use their space often during the week. So we've got to get our mind around, instead of going to one particular building, what we really want are services for seniors, and that may look, this service is going to be provided at Victory. I'm making this up, of course. This service may be at First Baptist, maybe it's with Centerpoint at the gym. You know, so we don't need to get so geared up as if, oh, we're failing our seniors because we don't have a building they can go and play cards in. We are putting that in place now, and it may look different than that until we make that happen. I'm excited about the partnerships, Tori, because I'm telling you, I've reached out to churches and talked to them. There are people looking for how do we help the city and our seniors, because most every church has seniors, and they're looking for opportunities. So I commend this council for the commitment you made last year to get this expansion from Tori. And Rick, I think what y'all are doing so far, I'm excited about. I'll just tell you, I think it's great. So thumbs up from me. I don't know if council's got any thoughts.
Are the senior programs being well attended so far?
Yes. So especially the 2 talks we had that Centerwell came and presented on. Our senior fitness class has about 60 members in it, and half of them came. So
I think that's the main thing we look for in expansion is participation. So thank you.
thanks.
Great. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you, Tori. And conclude, oh, sorry.
Oops, I have one last thing. Yep, that's okay. One last thing I wanted to add is we did a survey after fall sports, and we had a pretty good contingent of folks who asked us about a spring volleyball program. So we held off, had our spring registration for soccer, baseball, and softball, and we did another survey to make sure that we weren't serving the same kids, just robbing Peter to pay Paul. And long story short, we have over 100 young ladies already signed up for spring volleyball, and it's still growing. Evaluations will be this Thursday, so exciting new spring program.
I'm going to ask an ignorant question. We haven't had that, have we?
No.
Okay.
No.
And what's the age?
Awesome. 100 kids.
I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, she's,
like first, second graders cannot play.
no,
What's the age?
starts at 8 years of age and runs to 18, but divided up by numbers, yes.
Great job, Rick.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rick. And to conclude is Tourism Manager Carl Walhauer.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Chamber of Commerce hosting a power lunch tomorrow at Community Center. This month's topics on market trends in residential real estate. As always, Masters Week seems to be a catalyst for events in North Augusta, and this year is no different. With the Green Jackets opening tomorrow at SRP Park, they're opening their home schedule at 7:05 tomorrow evening, and they'll be in town for a one-week homestand. It's also Third Thursday week. This week, and downtown activities will be going on from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Brick Pond Park Committee is hosting Spring into Brick Pond Park this Saturday, April 18th from 10 to 1. And the group's been working really hard at, it's kind of for folks who've been in the area a while, kind of an Earth Day re-energized type of event. And so we're excited to have that back. But it's going to be family friendly, and it's going to feature educational pieces, food trucks, music, and activities for the kids. We're less than 2 weeks away from Spring Fest. It's going to be in downtown North Augusta on Saturday, April 25th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we have a couple of Explore North Augusta concerts, Sharon Jones Amphitheater. May 15th, we're going to have Broken Hearts tribute to Tom Petty. And May 30th, FJ was tribute to Foreigner and Journey.
Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Clifford.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I think that's all the staff has to present this evening. So we'll stand by for any questions from the dais.
Let people know, on the 20th, a lot's going to happen. At 5:30 is the public power hour. We've already got the slots covered, right? And we're only doing a 15-minute power hour, and the reason why is at 5:45 is going to be the public hearing for the Fifth Amendment of the master development of item, whatever that number was today. And then from there, at public hearing, we then will move into our regular city council meeting. So just want to make, am I right about those times? Okay. You've already said a thing about the brick ponds. You know, I do want to take a few minutes. I did a poor job about 2.5 years ago, the last election. Didn't really do a good job as mayor or city of helping citizens educate them about things we're doing. We let a lot of narratives go out in social media, and I did a poor job of trying to help educate citizens so they could kind of get a balance of maybe reality versus falsehoods. So I know we got 6 people running for city council right now, and some of these 2 thoughts are kind of to help them, but also for our citizens. I'm beginning to hear a lot of stuff on social media and seeing things, trying to do a lot of comparisons about our downtown and neighborhoods. And what I would ask you to do is, I have no problem comparing apples and apples. So apples and apples would be, do we put a neighborhood to a neighborhood? But people got to understand that downtown's not a neighborhood. Downtown is a heartbeat. It's a center of a community. We want every 26,000 citizens to want to hang out and go to our downtown. So it's for everybody. Neighborhoods are for the neighbors who live there. Nobody in Walnut Lanes want 20 people from Hammond's Ferry to go into their neighborhood and camp out. Neighborhoods are for neighbors. So if we want to have the conversation about downtowns and neighborhoods, that's fine, but let's compare neighborhoods and neighborhoods. Let's get away from this downtown, because it's not apples and apples. It just is not, okay? And to kind of give you some statistics, because it kind of floored me, and I wanted to just help give people some data, and especially these folks running for council. Y'all need to understand some things. Let's look at the amount of money we've put in the neighborhoods, okay? Sewer and wastewater, $9 million into the interceptor line. You heard Jim talk about it. Understand, that is the superhighway of our sewer and wastewater. It benefits every neighborhood, every citizen benefits that. We put 23,000 feet of slip line pipes in Crestland and Lyndhurst neighborhoods, okay? That is infrastructure. That's not some broad term. We love to talk about infrastructure. Those are exact things. Drainage. We have $2 million in the Clay Street pump station. That is, again, the heart of the water system. We put $600,000 drainage in the milling tract. That helps everybody on Buena Vista, okay? Transportation, we put a light, 6 years ago, guess what we didn't have? We didn't have a light in Bergen, or we didn't have a light at Knobcombe. The council, the last 5 years, put those in with SCDOT. We have got $3 million in the budget in the capital projects for Exit 1, because we know that's important. Public safety, you just heard about one of the fire trucks. With $6 million to buy trucks. Carolina Lift Station and the water system, we spent $3 million for the automated meter readers. So we're going to neighborhoods where we're replacing all those meter readers. So this is the down and dirty, but if you add up all those things, that is $26 million. That is not impacting one neighborhood. It is all the neighborhoods in North Augusta. Now let's talk about what we've done in downtown. We bought a trolley, $275,000. My first year as mayor or council, we put about $50,000 in some park benches and in our downtown. And when we do the Georgia Avenue calming, which will be starting, that's another $3 million. So that's about $3.3 million. And we do have $7 million in capital projects 5. So if we do add that up, that's $10 million in our downtown. And you didn't hear downtown mentioned one time tonight by every one of these directors. So think about that. Just understand, we are focusing on infrastructure throughout. You don't see it because it's the ugly stuff that we don't want to see, but $26 million to $10 million. So let's just don't try to compare apples and apples, okay? It's just two different things. We need to continue to invest in infrastructure and roads. We need to as a council. There's not a single one of us. We drive in the traffic. There are days I think to myself, oh my God, why can't we have a 2-lane road on Marktown like it used to be? We don't. We have traffic, we have congestion, we have growth. That's the world we live in. So as a council, we've got to make decisions not for 1,000 people, but for 26,000 people. But I want citizens to know when you're hearing things, are these people running for city council? Don't throw up terms about infrastructure. Be specific. Give me 3 things specifically you're going to do as a citizen to make our city better with infrastructure. Don't use infrastructure as a broad term. I just gave you $26 million this council has spent in the last 6 years on infrastructure. So do not let people use buzzwords and cute phrases. Understand, your city council is committed to all 26,000 citizens. We are trying to improve neighborhoods, okay? The second thing, I'm hearing a lot about transparency, and I think this is important. I was just telling our attorney Zier, we're going to give, and this is important, a lot of people, and this is for our people running for council, y'all, if you don't know this, we allow, in the state of South Carolina, about 70 and 90% of all the communities have something called basically a public. It's not they don't give it a public hearing. They do public hearings. It's a public period, either first or last, and it ranges from 20 to 30 minutes. That's all every municipality has. We're one of the few municipalities that actually lets every citizen stand up and give a public comment period at everything we vote on, every resolution, every ordinance. So next week, for all the people talking about the Amendment 4, you're going to have 3 opportunities to talk to City Council. You're going to have the public hearing at 5:45. You're going to have the first public comment period when we read the first ordinance for that, and then the second ordinance. So I just want folks to understand, we do a lot in giving citizens that other communities don't give. And you throw in the public power hour. So this thing about transparency, and for the folks, Tabitha's here, and I know other folks are watching, for the folks who are running for city council, and these guys can tell you, understand, when you get elected for city council, you're going to sit down with our city administrator at least once a quarter. I think we've had some situations, some challenges. These new guys haven't done that. It's the second quarter. But not only do you meet with the city administrator every quarter, just you with the administrator, asking, hey, what I need to be aware of. When we have our budget session, he calls every council member before the budget session, what do I need? What is your priority? What do you need to do? And then during the budget session, that's our job at that time to bring to the table what are the projects. And then we have a retreat we do. So I don't want to hear anybody in this council make comments like we're making decisions behind closed doors. We're not. Everybody in this council is aware of what we are doing, and we're giving you, a citizen, a chance to tell us yes or no. And believe me, you talking does make a difference, okay? So I just want you to understand, we are striving to be transparent. And for these new council members, you're going to have an opportunity to do it. So I just want to begin to do a better job as a mayor. We need to educate our citizens. So when you're hearing things out there, I want you to hear another side. You'll make your decision of what you want to do. I have no problem with that. I just want you to hear from us what we are striving to do, so when you do elect people, that they're aware and you're aware of the things they're trying to do. So anyway, I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I just felt like I needed to say it. And with that, we stand adjourned.